off the press topic, right? Uber has been in the news for mostly terrible things as of late, but a lot relating to their overall culture. And the interesting thing about being in Silicon Valley or the tech world is that a lot of folks think culture is having snacks in the kitchen, cool signs on the wall, and doing some events. And those things are perks and decor, they're not culture, right? Or they'll have like their 7 core values posted in the kitchen, but that's not culture, right? And so I have often found, and this is my anecdotal research, that women are better in thinking about culture building and planning. And I'd love to get your philosophy on culture and how you actually do set that and maintain that, and then perhaps maybe what you're most proud of about the culture you've been able to build. That's a lot of questions in one, but I think y'all are smart and you got it.
I'll start. We maintain culture by getting everyone involved in the hiring process. So if you have everyone around the table when you have someone new, so you find that you have someone who's talented, you want to bring them into the organization, even just letting the team take them out for coffee and just have a conversation with them. So when you're with a small team and you're working a lot and you're always together, everyone has to vibe. So making sure everyone feels like they feel ownership for bringing that new person on board really helps create a culture where everyone's bonded and helping each other and invested in one another.
And we're a marketplace business, which is challenging, and we're a 3-sided marketplace at that. And we don't produce a physical good. We offer a digital service. It's all of, we're always building our software. And so from a team perspective, I think it's really important that the team, even if you only work on customer service, or if you're one of our engineers, or if you're in our marketing department, that you're not just thinking about those things, but you're thinking about the business holistically. So we try to hire for 3 things at Laurel & Wolf, and we hire by committee, but within each kind of team vertical, is that we look for people who are caring about people, both in terms of respecting one another in the workplace and also who actually care about our customers and our designers, people who are problem solvers, and people who are optimists. And we take that kind of group of humans and we do things like, review sessions of code that's going out. We do coding workshops for the non-developers. We do marketing brainstorms for the entire organization. And you never know what kind of great ideas are going to come out of, a great idea for customer service that's going to come out of a product person, or how our customer service has great ideas for, things that we could be building on the website. So I think that building, with our type of business, trying to make sure that we are collaborating as a group of people and working kind of across teams. Like swim lanes really don't work. Everything is touched by so many different teams that we have to figure out how to work well together.
And that can be tricky, and I see a lot of companies that end up getting into trouble, which is their departments are so siloed.
Yes.
And it's like people want to be in there and working across the lane, so that's super important. How about you, Ashley?
Yeah, collaboration is so important, and we definitely abide by the no asshole rule. And you cannot be afraid to fire someone for culture. I would say we had someone who they were very smart, but they were a huge asshole. They made everyone else afraid to do anything, and we want people who are autonomous. And when we pulled the trigger and fired him, it was like the entire company celebrated and became so much closer because they knew we cared about culture and we were going to do something about it if you weren't fitting into that. Because it's all about collaboration and we want to have fun. And on top of that, we sent our developers to South by last year. And they got to do the DJI hologram because we want everyone to see our product in action and be able to have fun in that.
Yeah, I think one of the things you were saying, which I think goes for hiring, but then throughout the course of the business, is just attitude over aptitude, 100%. So I'm going to ask something that might be a fairly personal question. You can choose how to answer it, but I've worked with a lot of companies at different stages, and what I've sort of seen is that the earliest days, while they have their own set of challenges, you truly are a founder and you're working with a small team. And one, that's just a very different job than when you start to hire people and you move more into a leader CEO role and you have teams of people. And so I think what's so interesting and doesn't maybe get talked about enough is just being open with the fact that entrepreneurs are supposed to be very confident and they're not supposed to let you know that sometimes they're sweating. But what were some of the challenges, or maybe just one challenge where you knew you really needed to grow and stretch in your own leadership or management skills to sort of make that transition from a small team to a growing, bigger organization?
I mean, I think, most founders founders talk about how hard it is as you scale not to micromanage. Yeah. I know it's definitely something that I've struggled with and continue to work to do better. And I think it's not just about micromanaging. I think it's also that as a CEO, when you really start to step into that role and you're running an entire organization, you have to get out of the weeds to be able to work on strategy and to work 100%. On planning the next phases of the business. And, you know, I don't know, maybe 6-9 months ago, I had to really take a step back and say, okay, the organization is in a very different place than it was a year ago, and I need to restructure the way I do my meetings. I need to restructure how I'm meeting with people externally, internally, where I'm spending my time. Like, your time is so precious that, you know, clearing out your calendar, being very thoughtful about having actual work time. Like, I realized at one moment, I was like, oh, my day is just back-to-back-to-back meetings, and I have no time to actually do the work that I need to do to help lead the business into the next phase. And so I think that, you know, it's not just about, okay, you need to let go of certain things to really empower your teams and make sure that they're scaling the business and what they're doing what you've hired them to do. But it's also about giving yourself the opportunity to have that quiet time to work and think about where is the business going next, and then create a plan to give to those teams to execute up against.
Yeah, one of the things that I say to the companies I work with is, you know, at some point you're working on the company, you're no longer working in the company.
Yes.
And that's sort of the gist of what you're saying. I think it's easier said than done, right? And so it's a journey.
I mean, and you spend time with CEOs of really, really big companies, and they still are working on the company and in the company, depending on what the company's biggest challenge is at that moment.
Yeah. I think that fluidity, hire people who know more than you do. So I have functional experts that sometimes they'll be talking about something and I have no idea what they're talking about. And because they just know more about ad operations than I do, or they know more about social influencer, you know, metric tracking or whatever it is. So I learn and I kind of listen, but then I get out of their way and let them do what they need to do. But if there is some sort of snag in the process, you got to be able to go back down into the weeds and help them navigate their way out of it. So I think going back and forth is really, really important.
Right, and as a company that's built hardware, I mean, in the beginning, I was down dirty in a garage building stuff with my business partner, and that's how we started. But then you go to a phase where you want to hire people smarter than you who can push the product to that next level. And your entire goal becomes finding these amazing people to bring onto your team to get you to that next level. And then from there, you know, it goes on to, you know, are we raising more? Now I'm putting together strategic partnerships to help grow the company as quickly as we can. So there's kind of those 3 different phases.
These 4 women are inspiring young girls that they can do anything, be anything, and go start really great companies. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.